Well, the things you can learn when you sit around with a couple of grown-up adult guys and as Osip's debunking a computer and his mind's going elsewhere. And yeah, wow. If you could have only been a fly on the wall in that conversation. Welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am Shawn. I have another fantastic show planned for you. We have comments. We have a winner of the trivia. Lots to say. Also, Penny. Yes. We haven't heard from Penny in Quebec, but I know that she watches the show. And, sometimes, for all of you that put in a mention, like to look for something. Now, obviously, I'm working out of, and have been for 7 years, an existing inventory that I just, cannot stress enough that I have never had to get an outside item, and except for some of these pieces of mine that have come back to me, estate items. In all this other time, everything I have offered has been first from my general collection, and now from by far the majority from what I consider my own personal collection. Well, when you've been collecting since the age of 11, I am 63. And it's not one of those hobbies I had where I collected maybe a new rock every month or maybe week. Sometimes I collected a new rock only maybe every day of the week, or maybe twice a day. But then sometimes it was between morning and noon. But then sometimes between mid-morning and noon, I would get a new rock. And as the time got shorter in between the intervals, the collection got bigger. Now, for any of you Saturday Night Live fans, SNL Live fans from my age and my era, I remember a particular Saturday night. Remember, there were 6 children between 10 years of age growing up in Sarasota, Florida. So, there was lots of teenagers in the household at the same time, and which, especially my one older brother and I were close enough in age. We go out running together on a Friday and Saturday night. He's the one that actually has an amazing, huge jewelry store in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, that I think Elisa's been to. One of the family has, and seen his store, and part of it is made like a mine shaft. I was always very jealous. So he and I were really, really close, and growing up in Sarasota. So we could go out, and we had a curfew because I had a good parents, and I graduated high school in 1979. So, my running days were 76, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, all in there. And those were great years. Going to great concerts. I mentioned Led Zeppelin the other day, the last concert Leonard Skinner had before they crashed. Amazing memories on the West Coast, on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And so it was a time that you can't just recapture now. And so my brother, like I said, we would love to go out to the beach on a Saturday night and, never come back before a curfew. Except we just couldn't resist. And this is the days before you could really record something. No DVR recording, and things like that. No. Saturday Night Live was Saturday Night Live. You aren't there, you miss out. We would come back to the house to watch Saturday Night Live. Now, this might be after, a few beers and whatever other party favors during the time that were around. And so I remember just rolling on the floor laughing, and we had a large house, able to separate from the parents' end of the house. And so we could laugh to our gut was sore. If any of you think you're Saturday Night Live fans and think you're seeing it, well, no, you've never seen it until you saw the original cast of Saturday Night Live. And I'm talking about, the days of John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Father Sarducci, Rosanna Dana, and the list goes on as I think about it. And of course, one of the biggest ones, Steve Martin. And his skit about how often he imbibed, of course, remember this is the 70s at the time, how often he imbibed in the herbal material. And he, of course, started off like I did, only occasionally. And as he narrowed the time frame, it really hit a note. So I'm going to wrap that thought around and bring it back to being a part of a common interest in rocks and minerals. Whereas my passion wasn't getting a rock every now and then. Oh no. Collections by the pounds. And I'm talking about as a teenager, and if a quarter pound of Pata de Gallo, you can't even get an agate like that now, was good, then a pound was better. If one tumbler was, effective, then two more would be better. And over time, as I bought others' equipment, you should see, this is just the gems and minerals that I brought in and specimens and whatnot. My equipment, over this number of years, there's been so many opportunities just to get equipment as part of deals and whatnot, is extensive. Like steamers, which is a big valued, high desired item, usually very expensive. I have commercial grade steamers, like 8 of them. Benches. I have more workbenches of every different style, including the very coveted watchmaker's benches, the antique one. And so rolling mills, the hard to get stuff, no, not just the common. If you talked about pliers and stuff, oh, it's huge. So I don't know. I wish I would be willing to sell a lot of that stuff, really. Dremels, the Dremel tool, the hammer hand pieces, the list is extensive. But anyway, I can just ramble on. There's stories to every bit of it. And, how I got some of these things is a tale in itself. And some really amazing exploits that over time, when you're in the industry and for that long and have covered every aspect of it, even the prospecting aspect, from, Mother Earth on up. And you can't help but to just have a rotating wheel of memories. And so many of them were brought to me magically. And that's what there's a magic about this show. So let me make a comment that amazing green tourmaline, it has found a home. We're going to go ahead and read the comments. We're going to also pull up the picture of the crystal that I mentioned last week that Asif is here. He's downloaded it, that Miss Gabby has in her collection from the Rocket Pocket. And as I explained last week, that amazing tourmaline, that the pear-shaped one that I had, 22 karat, matches the color of the crystal and the blending of the colors just exactly. The two were meant for each other. And for that stone to be available, I didn't even know that Miss Gabby had such an amazing Pedernera tourmaline crystal in her collection. And it's museum quality. Wait till you see it. I'm gonna show you the picture. I think you get to see her kitchen in the background. And it's from an amazing find in the 2001, I think over 2002. And they called it the rocket pocket because if you go and look through the catalog pictures of the crystals that came out of that pocket, they looked like rockets. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly where the name came from, but I can't imagine it coming from any other source. And oddly enough, many of them had a pink, narrower crystal at the base that made it look like the fire, the thrust coming out of a rocket. And you're going to get to see that. Just a lot of have fun. Let's get going here so I can show you some goodies. I could talk to you guys like you're sitting in front of me all day long. It would be neat to have some just roundabout chats with all of you. That would be really cool. Okay, we have Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. Wonderful items this week. Really enjoyed them all. I would love to come down to Georgia and go through your junk crates. Yes, that was something I just mentioned last week, and I didn't even think about that before. I have all these crates that I have had to store all these amazing pieces. And if I was to sell them, it would be so inexpensive. I'd probably actually regret it because I'd rather like to possess them, but I can't possess the tons of rocks that I have had. Let me get to the trivia questions first. The questions from last week were, question 1, Larimar is a trade name for what type mineral? The answer, pectolite. So pectolite is the mineral it belongs to. Larimar was actually a combination of the person that originally discovered it, his daughter's name, and the word for the sea, because the deposit is alongside the sea. Then what mineral combines with forsterite? Let me see. Given to a gem or mineral whose... Okay, wait. I was going to ask that, but then I thought it would be too hard. The question here, you'll see how I scrub around. No wonder the nuns made me print, and then they couldn't even do that. What name is given to a gem or mineral whose color is derived from an impurity? And on the opposite side of that is what name is given to a mineral whose color is caused by its own chemical makeup? Answer to the first one, so a name, so many gems in their purest form are actually colorless, clear, in other words, clear white, colorless, including beryl, goshenite would be acrolite, tourmaline. You have sapphire in its pure form is white, is clear white sapphire. It's quite rare, actually. It's more commonly included by an impurity that alters its color. And garnets. Look how rare leucogarnet is. In other words, a clear, colorless garnet that actually would belong to the Rossler family. And I've had them. I've sold them just so people can add them to a collection when you've wanted them. I have one little parcel left. I had, silly me, years ago, enough that I parceled them up and sold these parcels that could then been high graded to beautiful, clear, rare leucogarnet. Can't do that anymore. I only have a few left that I'm saving. So that's why it's actually a two important words and two important understandings. So a gem that gets its color derived from an impurity, which is really the majority of them, including spinel. If you took pure spinel, it would be clear white. How often do you see that? And we're going to talk about spinel today for a very, very desirable reason. So that word is allochromatic. Allochromatic for when a gem derives its color from an impurity. It is idiochromatic from when a gem's color is from its natural chemical makeup. And I always use like malachite because it's the easy one to understand. The green color, and it's simple. There's only magnesium, carbon, and oxygen in its chemical makeup. Well, hydrogen, if you consider that, but I just consider it like a magnesium carbon. So, copper is part of that makeup, and that is how it gets its green color. And onwards. So, okay. Now, back to the comments. Yeah, Miss Cindy, you would love those junk crates. You would love the junk crates. I sat down there. I was looking for something else. I still have, and I asked, and none of you said you wanted me to bring them in. Now, I have Raven wanting just to give them to the neighbor to put on either side of her porch steps. I have these massive, you know what, the sugar geodes from Morocco. And, you know, I've sold them this big or given away or had deals with 6 pair of them at a time, who knows what. Because I had at one time a lot of them. But I also had at one time massive ones, and truly this big across. They averaged at least 25 to 40 pounds a pair, but they were all just naturally split, which I like, not sawed open, and they fit together like a jigsaw puzzle where you couldn't even tell really that they were split. They were all wrapped up so nicely in paper. I actually kept them wrapped in that paper, sealed, never looking at them. Boy, that's self-control, huh? For years and years, only until need arose. And one time, I foolishly was talked into giving a pair away for a home warming present. Well, you know, the people will lose their home, they'll get divorced, something will happen, and my rock will be gone, waywardly orphaned away, when it could be tucked away securely in my crate, locked away. So I only am down to, I think, a couple of them. I asked all of you if you were, and I was going to sell them cheap. Now, you know, oh, by the way, I put my chisel down and my rock pit. If I put my foot down, she probably would have put the chisel through my foot. But I put my rock pick down and said, no, neighbor's not getting that. We'll give her some fossil or something else. We do have some to share. We don't mind. She's a wonderful neighbor. Okay, so, and there's Miss Paula. Hello. And now you'll be on my show. Couldn't do without her. She's one of the bean counters around here. And very needed. All right. Now, so you never know what I'm going to come up with. And all this leads back to a original request by Miss Penny, who said that Mahalier's son, who's our youngest still member of our family, mentioned that he specifically liked chevron amethyst. It registered. I didn't write it down, but when all of you mention certain requests like that, it's not that I actually knew where or if I had chevron amethyst until I come across it. I know it's hard to understand maybe, but when rocks are everywhere in your home and, you know, things get moved around and whatnot, and I might have chevron amethyst displayed out, I might have it put up in 4 different places. I don't know. So I came across something really cool. It'll be set aside just for you, and I'll show it to you in a little bit. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. And Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts. Hello, all. I agree with Miss Cindy. Yellow gold, especially with certain colored gems. Yellow gold with a nice emerald, and let's not forget red gold with a nice copper-colored tourmaline. Also, even though it wasn't the correct answer, I came very close to saying nephrite jade for last week's trivia. I have a cat's eye jade, same color when backlit. You may remember when we were selling, this would have been more than 7 years ago before the podcast and in the live show, we were selling the Siberian cat's eye jades, and we were giving a great deal on them, and they're a lot harder to find. Great material. And yes, look, that stone, the Grossier garnet, it's one of its other names is actually called Transvaal jade. And Transvaal is an area in Africa that it's basically mined, or one of the areas mined. And so it looks very much like a nice nephrite or a nice Wyoming nephrite color-wise. But no black inclusions in it, but still it looks really like, very much like that. But Hydrogrossier garnet, yeah, that's one of those tricky ones. And I said, you know what, another memory comes to mind. I used to go to the Miami show. Well, I may still go again, but I haven't been in a while. Miami and the antique jewelry show. Remember, I had 2 different jewelry stores at 2 different times. So also the gems and minerals. One dealer, every time I'd go, he'd always have some odd, unusual ring, and it was always a challenge. And he'd say, okay, tell me what it is. And it was always one of those tests, could not use anything but a loop. And I'll have to admit, he only stumped me one time, because it's something I just did not expect. It was a nice platinum mounting. It was old mounting. It was an old piece, and the stone was in great shape. And of course, without being able to test hardness or anything, and it was one straight color, and it was still kind of big, maybe 10, 12 carats. It was a fluorite. Someone had set a kind of a mint green colored fluorite in a nice ring, and I failed that challenge, but who kind of wouldn't? Because I didn't expect it. But with a couple of tools, I could have definitely, like simple tools, a long wave UV flashlight would have easily done the trick, most likely. So anyway, never know what you're going to find out there or come across, just like you never know what I'm going to find or come across. It is always a lot of fun for me. Okay, Mr. Anthony goes on to say, the style of those pendants, the raised setting, just beautiful, Shawn. Thank you. It's funny, I'm not a rock hound in the true sense, at least not anymore. During the 3 o'clock show, I was much more of a hands-on rock hound, mostly in Maine and New Hampshire. I just got away from it. But I think I got the bug again, finding a couple of specimens lately and a renewed interest. I'm still at the bench and lapidary machines every day. That will never wane. Trivia, allochromatic and idiochromatic. And number 2, pectolite. Well done there, sir. Eyes down with a renewed spirit. So rock on there, Mr. Anthony. And exactly, all it takes sometimes is to find one of those, just eroded garnets that you can barely tell the dodecahedron, but you can tell it's a garnet in mica schist. And boy, all of a sudden it's like, wow, I found a gemstone, or a starlight crystal in the creek. It was a kyanite crystal on a bad day I was having, going through a divorce, with my son back in an apartment along Holcomb's Bridge Road, where there's congestion everywhere. And, that was moving from my home in Helen. By the way, Miss Gabby, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. And moving away from a home that had rocks, minerals, mines all around it. And all I had to do was walk down with my son, he was 4 years old, to the little creek behind the apartment that flowed in between that and some other apartments. And look down, and I think the universe put them there. Kyanite, 1 inch long kyanite crystals. And it's like, Wow, boy, did I need that. In other words, rocks and minerals are where you find them. Don't whine, Shawn. You can do prospecting right there behind that. So I need it. There was magic there. Just as there was magic that kept that tourmaline available for Miss Gabby. We're going to look at that in a minute. So Miss Gabby, speaking of, oh, by the way, there, Mr. Anthony, you know Goshen, Massachusetts, which is more western, central western Massachusetts, is where what they call the type locality, the original locality where they discovered clear beryl. Can you believe that? And if you actually look up the Barris, the location, which was the Barris farm, and if you look it up now, there's absolutely no population. It's just in the middle of a bunch of woods. And I would love to, of course, go to see old diggings. You never know. I'm sure they've been asked before. So you might get chased out with a double barrel shotgun like I have been before. But it looked like beautiful countryside. And it's in a kind of a belt of heavy mineralization for kind of pegmatites and that type of mineral. So it wasn't far from where you live at all in that area. So yeah, get out there, do some rock hunting. Miss Gabby in Florida, Georgia, and beyond says, just a quick hello, gang, from beautiful Helen, Georgia. You know, and I know you know where it is, Betty's Country Store in Helen, Georgia. Well, Lori Chastain, that's my son's mom. She, for her second life and job, and just because she's such a social, kind, outgoing person, she's already retired from 30 years teaching and head of the department for White County. The 4 areas of learning disabilities. Yeah, she was quite the saint by going into that profession and ended up with nationally accredited to teach and with was everything except her dissertation for her doctorates in it. So she certainly earned her place, but she went ahead and retired. Well, now she works at Betty's Country Store all the time as basically the manager. Her and the owner, they just came back from Iceland recently. It's like, oh, well, it must be nice. And of course, who was a good friend of mine, her husband. And that's all a lot of water under the bridge. But if you ever want to meet a wonderful Hellenite who's been there and lived there a long, long time and knows everything and everybody, just say hi to her and just tell her that you're a client of my show and friend as well. And she would love to hear from you. So Lori Chastain, look her up. Just ask for Lori at Betty's and anybody will know her. And if she's not working there, she'll, it won't be long before she is. So she has a lot of energy. Never the energy it took to go rock hunting, though. Not that kind of energy, not that kind of passion. All right. So, just a quick hello, gang, from beautiful Helen, Georgia. Shawn, you scared me a little bit when you said that tourmaline was still available. I knew I had gone back and purchased it Thursday. Then I remembered you record your shows on Thursday mornings. It is showing in inventory. If it's showing inventory, it's because they're holding shipment until I return. I'm so excited to add that to my collection. Withdrawing from trivia, but the answers, allochromatic getting their color from outside elements, and idiochromatic getting its color from its own chemical makeup, and pectolite. Hugs from Miss Gabby, hugs back to Miss Gabby. I'm going to show everyone in a moment that amazing crystal that goes with that faceted gem so well. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn says, hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole rock family. Nice selection of stones of the rare varieties this week, indeed. And a neat magnetism demo. Can't wait for your crystal growing class. I can't either. In Women's Day magazine of November 1955, now I want to know how you pulled this one out, but I will go ahead and read it. They had an article on how to grow white crystals on a brick which you colored with food coloring. 4 tablespoons each of kosher salt, a non-iodized salt, liquid bluing, water plus 1 tablespoon ammonia. Mix to dissolve the salt and pour over your porous substrate in a bowl. Add a few drops of food color and let it all slowly evaporate into fluffy mounds. Was a delight for a 6-year-old. The only problem nowadays is getting your hands on the old-fashioned liquid bluing. It may still be available in rural areas. Yes, ma'am, and guess what? We live right here in very rural areas. At least, especially I do. I drive a long ways to get to this fancy studio and not so rural area, but yeah. So, okay, I take it liquid bluing, all that is. The only thing I grew up knowing what liquid bluing was and having grown up around guns all my life with a tremendous amount of respect for them, but never hunted. But I just love the sport. Even made my own bullets. And here's my little thing I'm going to do. I am actually going to make silver bullets one day soon. I already have so many people that would want them, but I would take orders ahead of time. And so I'm devising on exactly what I want to do about that, because you know that that's the only way you can kill a werewolf. And in North Georgia, believe me, we have some werewolves. Liquid bluing, to me, that is what they restore guns with. So guns, have a coating on them over the metal, and it is called bluing, and most of it is a bluish tint. So you can get that easily from any good gun store, or just order it online, but it's something that is still available. Okay, let's see. As to the trivia, idiochromatic minerals get their color from their own formula, while allochromatic minerals get their color from impurities. I remember which is which by, I like associations, by I equals internal, and all, as in allochromatic, equals all over the place. I like that. Larimar is the trade name for the Dominican blue-colored variety of pectolite, the darling of the Caribbean cruise gem shops, but treat it gently as a hardness of only 4 to 5.5. Yep, that and tanzanites are truly the darling on cruise ships. I know. Okay, have a great week. I'm going to take care of getting over my first cold since before COVID. Wow, well, you've done well. Do take care of yourself on that one. And I have passed on your comment, and he already was experimenting with the sound issues that you said that you were having. Miss Elisa in Florida says, hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and Rock family. Shawn, you got us all on those trivia questions. Well done. Love the magnetic demonstration, and it was perfectly tied to the trivia questions, wasn't it, though? Speaking of which, my answers are allochromatic, and the second part of the question, idiochromatic. Question number 2, blue pectolite. My favorite item of the week was the dumortierite cabs that were in quartz. Take care, everyone, and have a great week, Miss Lisa. The magnetism, when you really get into it, you can determine, and we're going to talk about this when I show a ring here soon, but you can determine all synthetic spinel from natural spinel with a simple magnetic test. But we'll talk about that. And you can also tell fake. This is after maybe a little practice, after you get used to seeing and keeping some stones. Natural emerald from emerald that have been processed or created because of the heavier amounts of chromium and vanadium that is used, making them more magnetic. There's a whole science to it, and it really is one worthy of it. But we're going to talk more about that. Let me see. I think I did cover everybody. We do have a winner from this week's show, and it It is, with so few of you participating, the winners are winning more and more often and getting all the good stuff. So more of you need to chime in. I am going to show you something amazing. Let's show Mr. Anthony what he has won. This one will create some trivia envy, I feel. This is an amazing, for Mr. Anthony, a chocolate Macesso opal. And as I was explaining, Macesso opals in the early 90s was actually the first discovery of opal in Ethiopia. And it was nicknamed chocolate opal. More than anything, it was specimen material because it was known to craze. As you see in this one, it had stunning and tremendous color. Now, I have sold in this show and over the years had amazing old stock Macesso material that was not crazed and had stunning colors against a chocolate base color. And, but of course, it's harder to find. Harder and harder to find. That is what, though, led to the prospecting of Ethiopia for opal, and hence then followed the Wello discovery, which is literally on the side of a cliff and kind of a crazy location for the deposit. But before that, though, this is what started it all. And I'm actually giving this huge piece away because almost all of it is crazed and expected to be crazed. So it's, you know, specimen stuff. But to have a nice specimen this large of old Macesso opal, that is a great win indeed. Okay, let me put that away and I'll be right back to start the show. Now you see why they call it the Rocket Pocket. I tell you what, is that not amazing? This is one of our family members' private, beautiful museum quality tourmaline crystal from the Pedanier mine. And you can see, even going from the green coloring into that bluish coloring, the exact colors that were in that 22 karat pear shape estate tourmaline piece that I got, that was cut from a crystal from the Rocket Pocket. And you can see the base of that, and unless I am incorrect, that is actually a pink tourmaline base, because I've actually seen other tourmaline crystals from the Pedanier mine with a similar pink crystal base that looks like it's the, you know, rocket engine blasting that crystal off. This is such a stunning example of what the Pedanier mine is known for. It is for those incredible colors and that graduation of color. And of course, with tourmaline being plechoic, in other words, changing color with different angles that it's viewed at, you can see the different multicolors in the crystal, but in a well-cut stone like that pear shape, you get to see all of those colors blending in the piece. Now you can see how the green at the base of this is a green more commonly seen in the tourmaline, but it quickly goes into the dollar sign green. But what makes this so stunning is the incredible termination of this piece. That sharp of a termination, in other words, the top, the pointed angle, is striking. And with the matching sidecar crystal, even the sidecar crystal has the matching bluish green tint in the center of the crystal with the color gradation to that neon yellowish green color. with both the crystals doing the same thing. I think that it's these things that I notice that, of course, make it, to me, especially beautiful and so aesthetic. So with that purchase of that amazing pear-shaped stone to go with a before and after with this stunning crystal, both of course from the rocket pocket, one of the most famous pockets ever discovered in the tourmaline world, out of Brazil. So, and the crowning glory really of that mine was that discovery in that year. Other discoveries in 07 and 09 were nothing like the rocket pocket. Okay, so now we're going to go straight from that. Dave, let's take us to a quick lesson before we jumpstart the show here. And I am going to show you something that you will only see here in this show, because not many people know how not only to describe it or talk about it or even locate it. This is a large ruby. It is a genuine piece of corundum, and it was set in a very expensive custom-made 18-karat diamond mounting. This was bought on the internet. And even though the price was relatively very inexpensive and a good value, it would have been a much better value if the stone would not have been treated. Yes. So, yeah, oftentimes, if it's too good to be true, you start raising your eyebrows and looking at it closer. Now, closer is a term that means nothing unless you have the knowledge that goes with looking at it at any depth of field or magnification. Lead-filled glass. That is what is still the predominant treatment for corundum, and it takes a piece of what they call Gouda. They can take Gouda corundum, Geuda, and by the time they heat treat it, diffuse it, bombard it, lead fill it, whatever else they do to it. Yes, and then they actually have the nerve to label it as natural corundum. I guess chemically it's still natural, but everything else has been altered, it seems. It's amazing what they can do. It really is. This, believe me, looked nothing like what it does now. But what they have discovered, and the cookers are always discovering, they have a world and science to their own, and it's amazing what they have been able to do, much to my ire. I wish there were no treatments to anything. So, but that's not the world we live in, and now with the lab-grown diamonds, there is much to beware. All right, one of the biggest things that all you need to look for in a piece of corundum, especially applies to rubies, mostly is where you're going to see this done, and it is lead filling, which the inclusions have to reach the surface for it to be effective. The more inclusions that reach the surface where they can, under heat and pressure, inject the lead filling, the cleaner the clarity will become. One thing they can't get away from is an infamous orange flash and a more infamous blue flash from the leaded glass filling. And we all know when leaded glass came out for your, along with your fine china, you had your fine wine glasses and etc. And they, of course, chandeliers. They discovered by adding lead and other different elements at times, greatly increased the refractive index, or in other words, greatly increased the beautiful brilliance of the chandelier crystals, of the cut glassware, etc. Well, of course, it wasn't long before they realized that it could also improve gemstones. Now, here, I took this out. I should have showed you the mounting. And it was only a moment before, in looping it, I quickly noticed, and right here, because we're looking at actual color. This isn't, playing with a color or anything. You're actually looking at it, the reflections without being adulterated in any way. That is actually not a dispersion reflection. That is an actual reflection of an inclusion where the lead filled it to where the light striking it dispersed a blue, the color blue. And as you turn this, you'll see other blue reflections. A ruby does not reflect blue in its normal everyday course. You can actually see there's so much lead filling in this piece that it has a secondary cast of blue in almost every different angle. And again, that's not the stone, any of the stone's property doing that. That is the junk filling they put in it. Look at the blue. It's almost a moonstone glow over on this side. And this makes an amazing educational piece. So it will, if that sapphire didn't sell, join the, and against the black. Again, you'll see also that some of the same type reflections. And when you're doing this under higher magnification even, and like on top of my flashlight, like I would use, you see even more. See right there, there's orange. There's a dominant right there. Dominant orange flash. Okay, so here is the two giveaways in this piece. Besides that, if you really wanted to get technical and weigh the stone and do a specific gravity test versus what it should be, you're going to find that it weighs more than what it should. Because when everything is filled up with a heavy lead glass, that's what happens. All right, so here is a ruby that someone got taken. I don't have my ruby, I have my garnet on today. Okay, I was going to show you next to my Burma ruby exactly the difference in color. But it's almost impossible to look at this stone without seeing the blue cast. And what does blue and red make when you put them together? Purple. And what do you see mostly so much in this stone? Purple. Telling you just how much leaded glass is in there. All right, so there's another easy lesson. I'm going to put that away and I'll be right back with the start of the show. All right, I'm bringing in the good stuff when you see another piece that I made. You see in the graphics where it says sign S00S. Okay, so what that means is those are my initials, the SS, and the numbers in between my initials are the year that I made the piece. And you're seeing a lot of items, you may see a lot that are in 1998, 99, the year 2000. Now, very prolific years, but remember, that was 24, 25 years ago. I was 38 years old, 39, 40 years old, energetic. I could do so much then. And I did. But every piece had to be special in its own way. And of course, this being a garnet, it being my birthstone part of course, I would relate to it. This, of course, is the time when it was really hot to have mandarin spessartines. And of course, it still is. But early on, you could get a certain level of quality that often you can't now. And that is the clarity. The clarity. Especially in garnets and especially mandarins tend to have little dust size inclusions in them. And garnets in general will. So when you get one that is this clean with this excellent cut, this is a stunning cut. Let's pull back the curtain a little bit on this guy and just show you the brilliance to it. And also, it is a Shawn made mounting. Again, the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. And you can see that nice weight, solid shank, nice size holes drilled out so you can access the diamonds for cleaning it. And then you can see the 14 karat stamp that I actually is a engraved stamp. So it's very prominent. Right there as I move it into focus. There you go. So, but to tell a Shawn piece, you only have to look for the sloppiness of it. And so you can imagine, because I hand scribe them, so you can see that there is an S there, a zero, and if I ever catch the light right, you'll see it, and another S. There you go. There they are. There they are. So this is a rarity because I just don't have time to make pieces anymore, and these are the days gone by. 14 karat gold. This can be sized to any size you might need. Let me show it on my hand. Oh, next to, check this out. Next to my other spessartine. So that's kind of neat to show the color range of them. And I think I'll take this one. Wow. But you can see how old that is. Kind of a neat piece. But I love this. I love this one. I loved it then. And you're going to love the price. And again, think about it the way Barbara figured pricing on it. When you figure the value of the gold, you back everything out, the value of the diamonds, and then, of course, when you get an estate piece like this, there's no labor ever paid for the piece, and you get to save all that. That's a real stunning item. And you know what? For the price, scoop it up. Scoop it up, make it yours. I have this one at a remarkable opportunity. Think in your mind your price. Okay, that quality mandarin, I was actually just, believe it or not, the founder of our company, Frank, and we still, I do his high-end spessartine settings, mandarin stone setting in his Frank mount. I just set 2 weeks ago 3 of them, and 3 other mandarin beautiful stones for him. So, yeah, I'm up on top of the mandarin market. And so when he told me, and I realized how much cost was on that material, now it's like, oh. So it would make this piece for the stone alone in our market almost as much as what I'm asking for the entire piece. Because if you say that in my market, for me to go out, and if I got that stone at, and you know me, I don't make up those high-flying, ridiculous numbers. I make up more practical, reasonable numbers. 2.40 carat, $200 a carat, costing me $480. Yeah. That is every bit for that type clarity and color what you could easily and at a good value expect to pay for something like that. So you're at $500 there, 4.60 grams of gold, as Barbara pointed out, on 18 karat, but in 14 karat, she figures scrap value on that tanzanite pendant. She couldn't believe how inexpensive that ended up to be sold. I just figured it before I started the show. $43 a gram is what the actual value of 14 karat gold is right now. Times roughly 4.6, you're at a price of clickety-clack, over $200, $210, something like that. So right now, you're at basically $480 to $700 without getting into the diamonds. And that is, of course, getting it at a, if you could get something at a wholesale price. So my price on the entire piece assures me that it could never be put together for this opportunity. $678. $678 for the entire item, made by Shawn. I think that's worth a buck or two. And wow, nice heavyweight custom made piece. It's clean lines. You can actually add a mill grain, you know, the little beaded edge. I designed it so that could be added to the edge. You could just have the a work order made up, especially if it needed to be sized anyway. And I'll add that beading to it, beaded edge, for no additional charge. How about that? So $678, one of a kind. Let me show you. One of a kind because I custom made it. That's why I can say that. Item 1177024. Here, I did not make this one, but it's going to stun. This is a color tourmaline you're familiar with. Yeah, the mint green color. Look at that. Look at that. East-west setting, 18 karat gold, over a 4 karat tourmaline. Look at that. I love the gallery design. Look at the, again, you know, I say I didn't make this. My friend and I, who has the CAD CAM and the 3D printer, we actually worked on this, but actually the doctor designed it. It was his design. And so we just corroborated on putting it together. So since I didn't design it, I didn't actually even do the setting or the computer work, but I was the overseer of the project. And you know what? In actuality, in the realm of how it really works, like Elsa Peretti didn't work on every piece or make the pieces the bean or the jewelry. No, they, of course, come up with a design, then they assign it to be created by a shop. And yet they get the credit as if they did the work themselves. And that is the way it works. So I did have some to do with this, but not as much as if I could take credit in my mind. Now, let me just make that a little long. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful cut. That very valuable color. I love the clean lines designs, even though it has a good number of diamonds. Look at that. You can tell it's executed, and I had much to do with it. You can also tell by the nice solid stamp there. You can feel the weight. You can feel the quality. A perfect 11 by 9 by way of the millimeters. So you can easily get a millimeter gauge out and see how big or small that may be. Let me put that on my hand. You're used to seeing items on my hand, so you can see relative to that other ring. Look at how gorgeous that is. And let me tell you, this is one of those expensive colors in the tourmaline world. Here it is against a dark, look at that, and it just glows. It even lights up a little bit more under that. Okay, so here's what's going to be stunning. 18 karat yellow gold. So there's a lot of weight and value to that. All of that can be broken down and figured out by way of the gold value. How would you like this piece with a tourmaline? Again, tourmalines like that, that's another specialty that that Frank has. And so it's a really good way to have an idea of really what how much tourmaline is worth in the market. And because I know how much he sells in the wholesale shows out west, etc., and how much a carat he gets. And on this color tourmaline, I kid you not, it is nothing less than the $200 a carat wholesale range. That's why when you see my pricing on items, it's not relative to the actual market value. Don't think that just because you see something really inexpensive on my show, that is the value, the true value of it, because you would not be able to ever get it at that price anywhere else, ever. So it is only because of these special situations that I can bring them to you at that, at these deals. So here, this ring, for me to be able to offer it for less than $2,000 is a phenomenal opportunity. Think about it if it was on one of those 1995 turntables. If you saw that, boy, in 18 karat gold, that would be snatched up right away. Imagine if they took that turntable, as they so often do. You think they'd bring it down to $14.95? That would be a shocking drop. Yeah, I'm playing a little bit, you know, what some of you might be used to hearing. $14.95 for everything on that turntable now. Phone's not ringing. Don't hear them. Let's make them ring. How about right now, the next 5 callers and 5 minutes, price only, is not going to ever be less than your one-time opportunity at this gem at $978. I kid you not. $978. Final price. Oh, even though I never was like that, it felt good to be that way for a moment. Yeah, $978. So, you know, that is, oh my, that is, you know, the value in the gold alone. Well, I'll let you all figure it out. Now, the next item I have, it's going to take a moment to talk about, but it's going to be something to shout about. Let me get a sip. And wow. Item number 1177124. This is a rare opportunity. Really rare. Look what I have for you. This is a custom-made ring. There was not enough room for me to put all the information I wanted to in the graphic. I did not make this ring, but the ring was custom-made. Look at the stone, and that's why I want to tell you the custom-made. You see anything different about it? Of course, for one thing, it's going to be a native cut. In other words, it was cut for material weight and cut locally. This, very clean. It has just enough tiny small inclusions along the edge, you know, tell me it's real. But there's other things. Okay, see the flatter end of this oval? Okay, picture how most spinels are actually found. They're bipyramidal. In other words, spinels are isometric. They don't have a double refraction. And many isometric gems are bipyramidal in their crystal formation. In other words, take two pyramids and put them base to base, or it's also called an octahedron. If you look at this stone, if you were maximizing weight, octahedrons, most spinel crystals have two flat sides, two opposing flat sides. You know, they're the bases of the pyramid. So here is what you start with. You have the flat ends, and you leave those as your maximum diameter. And as a gem cutter, faceter since 15, and cutting cabochon since the age of 11, I know a little bit about it. Look at that. Look at that gem. Okay, so you leave those as the outside edge of, that's why, look at how thick the girdle is at that point. Then you can see how much thinner the girdle gets along the outer edge here. So they're maximizing the width of the crystal. I can't express how rare this stone is. The Mahenge Tanzanian spinels really hit the market with a big hoopla. I was doing the live show here at Gem Shopping Network when that was going on, and saw many spinels, and many of them, $1,000 a carat was about an average usual price for 4, 5, 6 carat stones, upwards of 2,000 a carat, and more, depending on the color. Okay, there's some things to know about spinels. And by the way, all these diamonds, most all of them are VS in clarity. I couldn't put all that information in the room I had, the space I had on the tag. So VS as in very slight, not BS, VS. And then the color on these also are all a good, strong GH color. So just a really nice white diamond. If they weren't, they wouldn't. It would show up against the white metal. There could be even, FG color stones in there, but I just call it was conservative on both. I think I saw one SI stone, so I had to, if I was to give it a range, I give it a VS to SI1 type range. I refinished and polished the piece, put rhodium back over the entire thing. It was not worn much. Now, when you talk about spinels and you're trying to identify spinels, there's a couple key things, and magnetism comes into play. Iron and vanadium are what they call fluorescent quenchers. In other words, if a stone has impurities of iron, especially iron, less often vanadium occurs, but it can occur, it greatly chokes down any fluorescence a stone might have. So I say that because many red spinels to pink spinels would have and should have a strong fluorescence. But what can happen is you can get an iron involved in the impurity, and it can choke out that fluorescence. That can also increase the magnetic response because of the iron content. So follow me on this. Orangey pink spinel is almost very commonly diamagnetic. Diamagnetic, meaning it has, you will not have a magnetic response. Yet, if you have, especially the Burmese spinels in the pink to red color, they can have a strong fluorescence. A strong fluorescence with weak or no magnetism. That's what you're looking at. Let's start off. Spinel, it's a simple formula. Magnesium, Al2O4. Remember, ruby and sapphire is Al2O3. So this has magnesium at the front. Some of its other family members, just like other family members to the garnet family, believe it or not, magnetite, Fe3O4 is a spinel, is considered and classed as a spinel. Chromite, you've heard us talk about chromite. That's the black material base underneath the uvarovite crystals that you see, the small microcrystals of the uvarovite on the black chromite. Its formula, FeCr2O4, it's considered part of the spinel family. If you go and look at a competing network's gemstones that have spinel, a 75.1 was over $100, and it was ugly. It was a pinkish spinel. A Burma, 90 point, $126. A 75-point Mahenge, nice color pink, $352. That would be $500 a carat for a 75-point stone. Fluorescence is due to chrome in this spinel. The fluorescence is due to chrome, not iron. If it was due to iron, you would have a magnetic response. I floated this entire ring like I showed you last week, and that's why you don't think there's that I have a lesson plan. Well, maybe I do, because if you didn't know about the flotation technique, we'd have to demonstrate that first. We don't have to do that now. And if you missed last week's show, you're going to want to watch it so you can learn the technique of identifying magnetism in really small levels in stones or also in alloys. So I floated this, and there was absolutely no magnetism. Yet it has a strong, beautiful fluorescent response, just as it should have. So from that, you can deduce that it is a fluorescent due to chromium and no magnetism, which is perfectly typical of this exact type stone and origin. Now, there's a lot more I could go into, but that, I think, covers it for now. So the key identifiers you need to know in general: iron quenches and stops out fluorescence. It is also a modifier for color. So once you get iron involved, the vibrant pinks can become a darker red. You can get a stone that is cloudy. It is basically has more of a negative effect. This is an old stone. I can tell by the cut of it, and it has been put in a modern style mounting. It is a rarity, and it is huge. Let me show it on my hand. So you used to seeing how big the ruby is. There's the garnet. Look at the size of that. And believe it or not, I actually think this style ring is perfectly suited to a man wearing it. Some of you may not think so much, but think about this. If you were to wear, think about men's wedding rings and how the styles have changed. Look at that. I would wear that in a heartbeat. That is such a stunning spinel and style ring that men's or ladies, look at that. Look at that. All right. So, when didn't take much research to easily find stones in the $1,000 carat, making this a $4,600 ring if you based it just on the center stone alone. Look at the weight in the 18 carat. Let's see if I probably have that information elsewhere, because it is 7.40 grams. So 7.4 grams of 18 karat gold. And those really fine, high clarity diamonds. Also, I was able to get the important notation regarding the spinel in the description, which says with, and that's why you'll see it abbreviated, with fluorescence, which is good, and no magnetism. And if you actually look at gemstones, the way they advertise the high-end gemstones, that they can corroborate for their origin, that's the way it is done. It is done through fluorescence and the combination of magnetism, and that can tell gemologists that use these techniques a whole lot more about the stone than just what a general, I'm just going to be honest, just what a general GIA course teaches. They do not teach magnetism in gemstones, and I could tell you things that you would love to learn and be able to figure things out in a creek, in a little pool of water. N52 magnet. That's what you need. Neodymium magnet, and I can even give you the name of the place to get them. They're not expensive at all. All right, this ring is not expensive either. I debated about just how inexpensive I was going to make this, and I really had a lot of struggles. I gave away the tanzanite piece, and in the end, this is going to be a giveaway too, because to offer this really for anything less than the really what the center stone at 1,000 a carat, which all of them, so many of them, were that or higher. And this is a stunning gem. Let me just move that around a little bit for you. And you have the pinks, you have the reds, and you have oranges in this. It is a real looker. Only ever going to be one of these, and I am going to offer this for the outstanding opportunity of only $2,188. $2,188, and I don't know how that breaks down, but I just know if you take the value, the weight of, okay, what's so 500 a carat on, it would be $2,300 on this spinel at only 500 a carat, and that would be even more than that. The mounting, the 18 karat custom mounting, that's at least, an $800,000-$900,000 mounting. So let's take off $800 for the mounting that you would easily, for that kind of carat weight at, well, no, we'll do it like Barbara does it at 500 a carat, which would be wholesale cost on the diamonds. So that's $375 on the diamonds. And at the scrap value of 18 karat gold is $53 a gram. It is 7.4 grams. That's roughly $400 there. So $400 plus, let's do the diamonds. That was $375. So that's $775. Subtract that from the $2,188. Remember, there's no labor, and we're just going to round things down. That rough, oh wow, that makes you getting into that spinel for about $1,400 on a 4 carat. That is less than $300 a carat. Nothing on the labor. And I don't know if I figured that right. That's just a magnificent stone. I can't tell you. That is a real beauty. All right. And remember, you have all the same rights and privileges in buying these as far as return policy goes, as Gem Shopping offers in all of their inventory for to make sure that you're satisfied and that you want it. And if not, well, return privileges apply as well. So, now, let's just do a quick recap because here we have the incredible spessartine garnet ring. This one was only, and you can look back in the information for, just go back. Since at home you can scroll back for any additional information, but we'll just put the price up for you. The first one was only $678 on this. The mint green tourmaline, again, boy, that is a real showpiece. And again, there won't be another one, your one time. And we got that one for less than $1,000, $978. $978. Look at that. Can you believe that? Oh, Asif doing a great job there pulling up the info for me. Thank you. And then the last one we showed you. So yeah, we actually did them in value, in order of value. This was just the song and the dance there at, I don't know, whatever. What is it? 2188. I like auspicious numbers, so there had to be 8s in there, 7 somewhere. 2188. That. Take all three. Take all three, and you're buying quarters for nickels. Okay. My clock is going to run out on me here. Let me check that clock. And yes. Okay. Now. Let's get to something. Now, these are for Miss Penny. They're actually for Mahali, her son, by request. And you never know. I don't tend to forget. I ran across them and saw, I know someone that likes this. 117-6524. 117-6524. And what I have, this is going to show you just how old and long ago I've had these. So look at this. Okay, so he said he loved chevron amethyst, and chevron amethyst gets its name by that angle. That chevron you'll see on a sergeant's uniform for his rank, and of course your chevron gas station. That's where that name comes from this formation, which has to do with the crystal shape, the crystal formation of amethyst itself. So this is a piece that I saw, and I then, using my cheesy spray polish so long ago that I was using it, that you can see how it's yellowed. Now you can remove that with any of the solvents, and that's to take that off and start over. Here is the outside, the end cut, which Raven always liked the best. And you can see the yellowing, but you can see just how long and old I've had these, that I am, especially since it's for you and for Mahali. If he wants something, then I want to try to find it for him if he likes it. I think I love chevron amethyst too. Obviously from way long ago. Anyway, those two pieces, they're only going to be $18 for you. And I'm going to set them aside, Miss Penny, and just let, if you don't get them this week, then I'll make them available to anyone next week. So that way it gives you long enough to catch the show and make them yours if you want them. Now, let me show you next. I have another Shawn special. 117-6424. 117-6424. Look at this. It's been a, the two collections, Made in America, and my Garnet January Birthstone collection. This one belongs to the Birthstone collection. Look at these. Look at these. Now, before I dump them out, this is a great way to view them. I have in here a matched pair. These are rhodolites. Okay, so 2 rhodolites. This is also Czech's near rhodolite. Then I have in these 2 stones, these 2 stones, they are spessartines. And then I have, let me see, remembering it right? Well, we'll check it in a minute. It was this stone, I believe, right there. Yep. Right there. that one is a hessonite. And how do we know all this? Well, we know it by the use of a magnet again. Garnets often intermingle, and so because of that, you can get magnetism in almost all of them. But when you get a special stone, you get a special stone. Oh, I can't even remove that from, we'll keep that out of the way. When you get a special stone that, let me get something that's not magnetic, that does not have magnetism, then you know that it is clean and free of any iron. And then, look at that. That pulled that one from all the way across. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. That is rare. That is rare. So what can that be? It can only be one of two things. A pyrope garnet, right? A pyrope, a clean, pure pyrope garnet, or a member of the grossular family, which would be hessonite. So if we look at the color to this stone, what in the world? If we look at the color of this stone, what in the world? And not magnetic, and change it. Look at that. Look at how that may be a tourmaline with the Usambara effect. And due to my desire to be accurate, Asif, can we still pull this one from the show? Turn the lights back on. I cannot offer this parcel without further information on that one. So let me do a little checking, because you know how accurate I like to be. I had not done that test before for the Placroism, but when something goes like an Andalusite and changes color like that, I'm not real familiar with any garnets doing that. So let's see if we can. Yeah, if it was green, but I'm quite curious what that little jewel might be, and then we'll bring it back to you. But in the meantime, I have something really rare for you to take your mind off of it. Item 117, 6624, and let me just dabble a little bit of water in here. I feel like a little chemist here for a moment. This, one of the rarest gems in the world at one time. Take a look, triplite. Look at this triplite. Okay, so I've given these triplites each an individual item number. I have two parcels of the same weights, and let me see if I can, yeah, here we go. That's gonna show it better. You can see the wonderful pinks, and let me show you, backlight it here, where you can see the oranges, the pink colors, and the, how awesome. The pieces that are crisp, look at that. Look at how large that one is with the pink colors all the way through it. Let's spin this around. And then again, you never know what you see until you actually are able to backlight it. Now look at these pieces, all right, thank you, sir, that have crystals coming out of, look at that. So you have, which is what's nice, to have pieces in this particular parcel that actually have the crystals in the matrix. Triplite crystals never form distinct looking crystals like we're used to. Look at the clarity of that. This is about as good as they get. But this one, actually, look at that sitting on there. That one is actually a really nice specimen. And the neat thing is to give one of these to a fellow rockhound, because they can add another mineral to their collection. And nowhere else could they really be able to get a hold of a triplite without spending an arm and a leg. And you can, there's plenty, offer something that they, look at that, wouldn't normally be able to find. So, especially when, how about this? The entire parcel in this one, nice cutting material, $48. $48. Let me show you this. Item number 1176724. All right, this is the same weight.
Well, keep that other one up for a second.
Yes, sir. Okay. 1176724. Let me just drop just a smidge of water so we can give it that wet look. It's really the only fair way for you to be able to see things accurately. If I take the paper out, it might help. So look at this. Now this is the same weight. These stones, there's some large ones, nice ones here, but there's also a whole lot of, as we backlight these, look at this. There is a lot of material that, like Anthony found out, he was able to facet a 40-something Porter triplite from a piece he got. And from these, I mean, you can definitely cut stones. Triplite often is mostly included. To find clean, clear triplite, very rare. But look at the colors. You can certainly find cutting material in this lot as well. Thank you, sir. And there's also big ones with the crystals embedded in the matrix. Look at that, like you see here. My goodness, that just makes me want to get it out and play with it. So, okay, how about this? On this batch, only $38. Only $38 for that group. That is a good value. Okay, so let me clean up this little mess I made, and I'll be right back. Okay, in the moments of time I took to clean up a little bit, I further examined this stone, and without a doubt, I know what it is now. And I'll bring it back for sale because I think there's a couple of you wanting it. And if you'll let me know in the comments again, those who were, I want to show you the color change that this color change only occurs with axonite. And you see that corner where it's purplish? That is because, pardon? It could have been. That would have been really. In the corner, you see the purple color. That is because the inclusions are at different angles than the material surrounding it. Now, let me rotate this, and you're going to get to see the amazing color change that axonite gives you. It's along the lines of andalusite that goes, of course, from that olive green to a copper red. Axonite, look at that, has one of the strongest color changes of all the gems. And you can see the inclusion down in the corner again. It doesn't break the surface. All that's internal. And as I continue to rotate it, look at all that beautiful grape purple goes away to a yellow. Really? Except for that corner where there's, again, inclusions alter the direction that you view it through right in those particular areas, thus giving you a phenomenal, almost universal, like looking up at the night sky, kind of display, like a solar flare emanating up, I think it adds, look at that, so much to it, and helps explain the scientific property behind it. So I'm going to look at that gem. And again, and look at that, just from the slight difference in angle to go from that incredible purple color to an incredible yellow orange. So again, look at, if I had not done a magnetism check, that is what singled this stone out for further inspection. And other than that, it could have floated around in that parcel for a long, long time. All right, let me show you one more thing real quick. I want to show you this pair of earrings. Now, they're not for sale at the moment, but I want to show you, I made these. They are for a client at the moment, my particular doctor. Imperial topaz earrings. I made these. They're actually signed back in the year 2000, and he had a 41st anniversary coming up. So you can actually see there's my S00S on these as well. And when he said the 41st anniversary is topaz, I said, well, I'm sure for that anniversary, you don't want blue topaz. I said, you are looking for the real thing. Really difficult to find, but these happened as the magic of this show occurs to come available. Look at that. If for any reason they do not work for him, I will bring them back for sale to all of you. Okay, as the clock ticks down, let me get to a couple items I wanted to show you. And boy, I tell you what, I cannot believe that this is available. Item 115-8224. 115-8224. Who would not want to have a piece of history? As each moment goes by, the less and less opportunity you will ever have to get Crabtree emeralds from the Crabtree mine. And look at this. This happens to be a piece that I have sawed off on for a number of years, giving me many, look at those emeralds along there, giving me many beautiful, beautiful emerald slices and material to work with and cut cabochons with. It's a marvelous piece. And here's the amazing thing about the Crabtree emeralds and their mine. You can look at this. Look at the mica on the outside, and leaving you no idea that just beneath the surface, look at that, are emeralds, unless you get to a spot where they break through and show. So look at, and could there be some on the interior of this? Absolutely. Why not? There is in all these other places. So this is a really rare piece. It has shoral hornblende, biotite, quartz, probably some epidote mixed in, and of course a number of emeralds. As you can see them, they go from here all the way down to here and beyond, and then start down here again and come across here, and who knows where else in this piece. So this one can yield a lot of emerald, and these pieces, if you went up there to their shop and tried to purchase something like that, you would be wouldn't be surprised, or shouldn't be surprised, if they were asking in the neighborhood of $800 to $1,000 for that piece. And I could not say that it wasn't worth it. Go find another one. Go find some Crabtree emerald specimens. They're just not out there. But there is this one still available. And if you're interested, well, then grab it before I completely change my mind on it. I will offer it at a amazing sale opportunity. And if you're interested, just look up what other comparable ones might be. This one, I am putting it on sale right now for only $278. $278, and tell you what, that's a big discount and a great find for it. Look at what I just actually noticed that I didn't see before. Right at the very top, are emeralds. And right there, it looks like this actual piece was chipped off of there, which now makes me wonder if I actually strip back all of this mica, because it seems like the emeralds, look at that, are just below the surface. What would that yield? Because it looks like they start here, and look at them right there, and break the surface here. So why couldn't they possibly be throughout this entire thing? I did not notice that. So we'll see. This would be one. It didn't matter how it would come out. You know you're going to be able to see the emeralds and finish that beautifully. Or think about this. Take multiple cross sections and, cut 7-8 slices out of that. Or do it this other direction. And then you still have a bookend type piece and have emerald pieces you took off the bottom. There's a lot of choices for only that amount of money. Okay, now, keeping with the barrel theme, item 111, 3423. Let's see what we have here. Look at. Here is... I love it. So when you look at it just like this, again, who knows what lies beneath the surface and these coatings on these minerals. Namibian. This piece is, let's see, item 111, 3423. Okay, yeah, you got it. Thanks. All right, look. And then all of a sudden, we get past the surface, and what do we have? Look at that. Didn't expect that, did you? And then, I love it when they leave a portion of the skeletal negative impression. And you know what? You know exactly what crystal that was. Picture the rocket pocket, the terminated end of that crystal. And what was it? Tourmaline. Wouldn't that be amazing to have a big green tourmaline sticking out like a... But you can tell from that is a tourmaline, and that would have been embedded, probably just a shore, black tourmaline. But look at all these other amazing little radiated colors coming out of here. Look at that wonderful 6 sides to the hexagonal shape. Some etching occurring, so coming through the pocket, dissolving away some of the material. Other material starting to fill in and heal it back. I love this for that reason right there. That really, and natural color. You can see by the gradation in color. You can always heat treat it if you want to do a little gambling. I have this on sale, and if you don't take advantage of it, wow. The last time it was only, let's see. So it was 65 carats. I had it at $1 a carat, $65. No one got it for that. I made it $58. No one wanted it for $58. Are you kidding me? All right, final price. We're going to make this only $48 with a big F for final next to it. And look at the size of that. Can you imagine? Go to a show and see what they would be asking for a tourmaline crystal that large. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is you're making money on the buy, is what we used to always say when we'd come across a deal like this. Oh, let me show you. 117-6824. 117-6824. This was for, because, I don't like to put things always at a price where even the Rockhound with a few bucks can't get something really cool. So when I was doing the trip lights, I broke the way the parcel I had left, broke up, left a odd number here or of triplet. And so these were some of the smaller, really gemmy pieces. Let me backlight these. And look at this. These, boom. These you could even tumble. You could make those Zen gardens I talk about and even crush some up for a very neat color of gravel. And for what you'd be paying, it'd be worth it to use some of them and have, say you had triplet sand. It's all about what you come away with, what you want to create, what flows out of you, what material talks to you. And you have to have the materials so that when they do talk to you, you know you have the right one to listen to. I see pinks in there and oranges. 75 carats. And how about this? And like I said, I always want to make sure I have something affordable to every budget. Yeah, okay, this is crazy. I should go and buy my own stuff back. $24, only $24 for that. That way, no matter what or who, everybody can get in on something that they want. Let me show you item 116-1724. Now, the other two of these were sold. Miss Gabby, I believe, got them. I was kind of thought she might get the third, but there's probably a reason why. She probably already has one, but I only have one of these left. And if needed, not if needed, they are needed, I will install a brand new watch battery in it for you. Check this out. Look at this. Yes. Remember those clocks? Well, we have one left, and it is one of the most beautiful of them. Look at the malachite. Look at the malachite. So I think we had a lapis one. And my memory will come to me in a moment as far as what the third one was. I can't believe I don't remember, but yes, I can. So these are collector pieces, and they would look beautiful, and they would run on quartz batteries. Look at the pattern even in the malachite, and they're real easy to change the time, to set the time, and to also change the battery. This unscrews, it comes right off, and I could show you, see that? Then it comes right off, and you can rotate that, you can do all kinds of stuff. It is very simple. And you see the battery info there for in the future, but I didn't want to put a battery in and not sell for 6 months and wear down the battery or whatever. So I'll put in a brand new battery, whoever says sold on this, and the price I have on it, let me see. What's the price? Do you have a price in there, Asif?
Well,
I have $77. What do you have? $77? All right, I'll put it on sale. Not much room on this one, but I'll give you what I got. Make it $68. Only $68 on this guy. So imagine carving the malachite and putting that all together for only $68. What a great gift to give a rock hound, even if you had to wait for like Christmas or whatever, because they're not going to have anything like it. And they're going to think it's one of the coolest things. And they're going to say, how did you find this? Where did you find this? And, you're going to be the hero. Absolutely. And rightfully so, because that is a really neat item. I'm going to show you a rarity, 1160824. And I tell you what, Matt in Texas might need to listen for a moment, because I am going to drive Asif nuts. No, I'm getting out the Giger. known affectionately as the Geiger, otherwise known as the Geiger counter. Why? I have bastnasite. I have bastnasite. Now, bastnasite is known to contain REEs. What are REEs? Rare earth elements. You can see in the graphic, it is a rare cerium, lanthanum, yttrium, and other rare earth elements. That's Re. Carbonate, so a fluorocarbonate with fluorine at the end. So that is, look at the crystals, especially rare. And let's see if there is any radioactive signature, which then might increase some of your desire to for collectability. So here we go. We have average. You always see it around 50, 60, 30, 40. It drops in. Let's put this right over this and see if we get any increase. It doesn't always happen, but yep, we do have a signature. It is what they would refer to as weakly radioactive, going over 100 there, but definitely has a radioactive signature. So that's cool. And also, bastnasite has been known to be facetable. And look at that. Here is a very attractive and great clarity, nice oh, thanks, Dave. Beautiful shape, really, for the crystal material. And then let me see what else we have. You can see, look at that. Look at those. Those are really nicely formed crystals. Wow. I tell you what, if you collect or like rare items, here you go, and bastnasite there. You could even facet some stones out of this batch. Thank you, sir. So I am going to make this an opportunity on a rarity, and I'm going to sale price it from what I offered it last time. Let's make it only $36. Only $36 on this guy, and it's one of those that I'm going to end up regretting. Because I like the rarities also. And to put together those 3 bastnasite crystals took actually quite a while to do over time. I was offered an entire lot. It was like $3,000. I did not need that much bastnasite, and a lot of it did not impress me. So I passed it up. But in hindsight, I probably should have gotten it. Oh, let me see. Do I have a 240? Yep, we got the time. I'm going to show you item 115, 40. Let me see this. 115, 40, 24. This, I didn't know. These are so few I have left of what I'm getting ready to show you. Take advantage of it. Remember, there are the Pakistani 4, as Barbara affectionately called them. The 4 different lots that I had purchased over the years that all were an excellent rare opportunity. Red zircon was one. Pink apatite was another. Sphene was a third, and triplite was a fourth. So look at this. This is one of the last of the sphenes. Look at, you see that? The drama wasn't impressed there, but as I turn it down, boom, those sphene crystals jump out. Look at these crystals along the way here. It is fluorescent calcite, so you can determine the calcites in here. It also has chlorite. All these green sparklies everywhere is chlorite, the same kind of chlorite that you see in like moss agate or chlorite in quartz. Look at these. Look at these beautiful multiple crystals right on that ledge. And then look at all the smaller ones along that ledge. Look it right down through there. That is attractive. And then, you know, on this, I remember this one when I was looking at it. There was a lot of other things going on. I ran out of room. Fluorescent calcite. There's also feldspar on this piece as well. You can see it probably right there reflecting. I think those are feldspars. But I tell you what, that ledge, look at it. Imagine if you were a little person and you were walking along that ledge of mountain. This is the way my brain thinks. Yep, I got it back. Look at all these other little crystals. This is a stunning specimen. It is actually one of the nicest ones. Well, that's why, because it's towards the end. And on this one, you know, there's just, I would love to say I would offer this at a big discount, but I just can't. And it wouldn't, I shouldn't sell it for any less than what I'm already offering it. I tell you what, I will. I'll make this sale priced, and I'm going to make it only $77. Only $77, and that's from 88. So that's a big discount on it. You know, on a specimen that good luck even finding it at a show, especially as each year goes by. That is going to get harder and harder to find anything like that at all. If you already have one, then get another one. Let me show you a made in the USA item. Item 1143723. If you don't have something from the United States, come on. How about Keokuk, Iowa? This piece, when I first got it, was so dirty. I cleaned it and cleaned it and cleaned it. And the more I cleaned it, the prettier it has gotten. Here's the coolest thing about this. It has multiple phantoms. And actually, let me see. Yeah. Dave, go ahead and help me with the light on your end. Here we go. That's more the color it is. All right, so you saw these big crystals here. Keokuk, Iowa, they have these washing out of some of the riverbanks, some of the road cuts. And here is the way you tell. Keokuk geodes have this brain-like formation look to the outside of them. Look how it's flat on the bottom. And I like it when they're naturally broken versus sawed through. As we look back in this piece, there is, you have to look at individual quartz crystals because so many of them are terminated at both ends, which is quite unusual. And then there's phantoms in them as well. Down here, you can see one. Here's the phantom in one, and you can see the double termination and the phantom growth in it. Here's another one. Here's the phantom. You can see the white cotton on the interior. Termination at both ends. And, you know, the more I looked at individual crystals, the more interested and odd looking and unique they became. Look at this one. See that? Pointed there, pointed there. Double termination. This is something you don't normally see. Look it up here. I mean, almost everywhere you look. Here's another one. And this is a place, Iowa. Who would think in Iowa? Not normally known for a lot of gems and minerals. So over time, this has got, I've cleaned it and cleaned it and cleaned it, and I look it back in there. That's cool. That's where I want to go. You could probably get this even cleaner and a little bit less iron oxide if you make it whiter, if you want to put it in some of the iron oxide removing quartz. Unless it's hydrofluoric acid, you're not going to affect the quartz. Quartz can take all kinds of other stuff. Look at that. That's a unique form. There can be calcites. I haven't necessarily spotted any, but that doesn't mean there aren't some around in this piece. But it is one that you can spend. Look at a whole different type of look to the crystals in this area. Buy American, right here it is. Keokuk, Iowa geode. Look at how the size of that. That is an impressive piece, and I can't believe that all of you have passed this up because I just wasn't asking that much for it. All right, I'll discount it though, but at some point it can only be so low. I imagine up in Keokuk, Iowa area, they want a whole lot more for something at this level of quality. All right, big discount then. And I'm going to make it at a final opportunity kind of price kind of discount of only $48. $48 on that one. And Dave is acting like this is my last item of the show. Let me flash up these last three pieces I featured earlier. And this was that stunning spessartine garnet that I'm just working from memory, so bear with me. It was like $678. The tourmaline, mint green tourmaline, over 4 karat, 18 karat gold. That one, can you believe that? $978. I got that under $1,000 for you. And then this stunning over 4 karat spinel in 18 karat gold. You know how expensive that color spinel is. And I taught you all about what makes it special regarding the fact that its color is derived from chromium and not iron. And I proved it, and did I show you this? Anyway, I could actually do the magnetic test and show you. You can do it yourself. And proved it through no magnetic attraction. So that's a much purer, clearer, cleaner color than a color derived by iron. I love that unique shape with the flat ends. And I told you how that would have most likely been derived from due to the shape of the crystal. I love the style mounting. Clean and simple, showing off the middle piece. So 3 special pieces I will put in front of the geode because it just looks cool. All right, I'll wrap it up right there and I'll be right back with the trivia questions. Woohoo! How about that show, huh? It's not always about the quantity. Sometimes it's about the quality. And for you to understand quality and what you're buying sometimes takes more than a minute or two presentation. And I hope that all of you can appreciate the additional effort that I make, especially on, for my show, the more expensive items. Now, when I was doing the live show, I mean, we sold items in that range and beyond, including high-end mineral specimens. And oftentimes, of course, you know me, I didn't get to express myself as fully as I wanted to. It was like early on, I got the KISS principle on myself, to dumb it down a little bit. But yeah, because for me, and but now you guys, you're an educated bunch, and we can talk a little bit more formally on levels that often can't be discussed if you're in a normal rock and gem show. And most of those people don't have a level of knowledge anywhere near what you might want them to have. In other words, if you go to a dealer and you're expecting, because he sells all these different mineral specimens, for him to have the knowledge on them, and I'm just going to be frank with you, the knowledge on them that I might have, then you'll be disappointed. Because you might end up knowing more than they will. And if you keep watching the show, taking notes, logging things into that memory bank, then you're just going to really excel and shine. And it's always obvious to another rock hound. All Raven has to do is wear some of her particular pendants that only a small fraction of the general public, not the general public, the general rock hound would have any idea what some of her items are. and she doesn't wear them for anyone else. She wears them for her. So, but what it would say to someone that does know, like myself, it would say, wow, this girl knows her gems and minerals. Or so you would think. But let me tell you a quick story. She wore a pendant 2 days ago. And it had been given to her actually because she loved rocks and minerals since the age of 10. So it was actually given to her by her daughter's, her first husband's mother, decades ago. And I said, well, how'd she know you wanted it? She said, I liked it. And so when we got to the car, she ran back inside and bought it for her from a gem and mineral show. And it was a wonderful stone with a sterling silver spider web emblazoned, kind of, created over it. So I looked at it, and she first told me, she said, yeah, it's a fossil. And I looked at it from a distance, and I said, you sure about that? She goes, it's not, is it? I said, no. I said, take it off and look at it. And of course, I drive her nuts because I never tell her directly the answer. I make her work for it. And so it was a combination of pyrite and calcite, okay? And I said, okay, so pyrite most commonly isn't found associated with this material, with this formation, but it's not that it is not ever found. So I said, the combination of the pyrite with the calcite, with brown calcite. So she had two different colors of calcite, brown calcite, pyrite in it also, and some intersecting lines. Now, let me know if you have any idea or if you got it right, what I'm getting ready to tell you as to what it actually is. And of course, when I told her, she saw it as such, but she would have never gotten it to start with as far as what it originally came from. And so what this piece was cut from was a septarian nodule. Septarian nodule. And if you don't know what one of those are, go look them up. But they can be found with pyrite and calcite. And so it would only take someone like me to recognize something that even she didn't know what it was. And the person that sold it to her represented it as something that it wasn't at all what it was. They said it was a fossil. And so you never know. Most of the time, all of you will know more or very much close to, if not more, than many of the dealers that you'll be talking to. Stick with this show. You're going to continue to learn and grow. How about this? Ready for 2 questions on the trivia? Okay. Now remember, no rewinding. And once we get to this point right now, you can stop and rewatch the show. But once we get to the point of the questions, no rewinding and going back and listening to the answers. Oftentimes the answers may not be there. I count on you taking notes, or also it could be from previous shows or general knowledge that, I don't know, we're just having fun to see what you know. Most all the time the answers are answerable. I did get everybody, though, on the what is this a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to have to work on that. And this is just for fun. No one has to take it serious. And I know some other people in the past took it too serious as far as it. But no, we're just having some fun. And you get it right, you get something really cool. If multiple people get it right, we draw a number. And you have as much chance as the next person to win it. The magic of the show will assure that the piece you get or win is exactly the one that was meant for you to start with. All right, ready, set, name 2 elements that help stop fluorescence in a gem. Could you imagine if you're having a discussion or someone talks about fluorescence in a gem and you're able to contribute that type of information that could help them determine what something is or isn't? Between magnetism and fluorescence are only 2 tools I used to determine and confirm what I had determined. So there's two different ways there. What it was. So yes, simple tools can yield big results in confirming identification from other methods. And when you put them all together, you come out with the right answer. Just like the moment I took to figure out what that axonite was in the parcel of garnets. It was the only one that did not react. So I start to narrow it down in the garnet family. And then all of a sudden, spinning it around, when I saw a color change. Now remember, you can have Malaya garnets that have a color change. You can have those stunning Bakili Madagascar garnets that can have a blue tint to them as well. But I have never seen a garnet go from a color change from purple to yellow-orange. There's only one gem that's ever done that. I cut an amazing one, and I'm still looking for that other one, by the way. And that is axonite. Axonite isn't magnetic and has a strong color change like that. Bingo. I almost gave away that stone for an average. What that parcel, you know what it was going to be? The average cost of each stone of that parcel was going to be $1.25. I probably shouldn't tell you that, but the axonite at this point is probably my favorite cut. I know there's some of you that may want one, and I'll probably offer it for sale at a very reasonable amount. But I love the fact that with that inclusion, how it changes the color. Now, that's just a really beautiful, beautiful gem. So anyway, those of you that still let me know or are interested in that particular stone, let me know in the comments, and we'll figure out something. Okay, so what two elements that help stop fluorescence in a gem? In other words, the word used is, a scientific word that actually is used is quench. So what two elements are known to quench fluorescence in a gem? Second question, what does the often used abbreviation of REE stand for? So because it's lengthy and can be used quite often, everybody in the trade don't even use periods after the initials, just use the initials of REE. And it becomes important because you're going to see it and you need to know exactly what it references and means. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the show. A little bit of everything today, huh? Gems, jewelry. Let's see, did we do any fossils? Not really, but I had fossils planned. Yes, I did have. I have always a lot more planned than I get to. But there'll be another show, and there'll be exactly what you want in it. Just keep watching. Let's see the term. Like and subscribe, Miss Barbara said, is how what I have to say. So please like and subscribe to the show. Been here doing the podcast 7 years, 9 years prior to that doing the live show here at Gem Shopping Network. And you can always, of course, access all the other shows 24/7. You can order anything from any of the shows you've seen 24/7 from any of the wonderful sales reps that answer. Now, here's the way this show works. Everything that you see today will be on, unless I pull it off early, on memo. In other words, available for you to purchase for an average of about 2 to 3 weeks. And after that, the items that are not sold are returned to me. So at that point, they're taken out of the Gem Shopping inventory. So what that's going to sound like, if you call for an item, the sales rep may say to you, I see that that has been sold. If it has, then that's the end of the story about it. But if they say, well, I see that it has not been sold, but it is not available in the inventory, that means that it wasn't sold. It's the item's been returned to me and then is still available for sale. All you need is that number and contact customer service. They will be happy to contact me. We'll find the item and make it yours. All right. Thank you again for all your very fun, wondrous, interactive support. continue it so I can continue being here with you. And I want to hear from more of you out there. Get in on the trivia if you want. You don't have to, though. You can just send in any comments that you want to talk about. And like you saw, we have rekindled the prospecting fever in Mr. Anthony from just a few simple informational tidbits about a volcano that was in his backyard he was not familiar with. That's all it can take sometimes to strike the match, light the fire, and get the rock hound back to digging. God bless all of you. Take care, and thank you. Thank you for everything.